An art-enriched environment does not have to be messy, complicated, or expensive. I like to keep a variety of things such as the very basic just watercolor palettes. They're very inexpensive. I replaced the little brushes with these chunky paint brushes. They can really take a lot of beating from the kids and they are easy to manage. Secondly, with the watercolor, you can use it on wood, you can use it on paper, cardstock, and a lot of different surfaces. It washes away so easily. They're pretty easy to teach the children how to use and how to take care of. Next, you can get liquid watercolor, which is really cool. It can be added to squirt bottles, put it in cups with water diluted for squeezing onto tissue paper, watch the water absorb into that, and then also bubbles or shaving cream. It's really great to have some liquid watercolor on hand when you need to add a color. We really enjoyed the bubble painting. We do a lot with the squirting and then also with the squeezing. Next medium that we love to use is the tempera paint. Tempera paint is so great because it lends itself to so many different areas to paint on and different textures. You can pretty much paint it on anything, including when you need to do a hand print and even painting on toys. You can mix it with water as well and also shaving cream and so many different things. You can use different things to paint with the tempera paint. You can take rollers and paint with that. You can paint with stamps. You can dip pieces of fruit. The possibilities are endless with the tempera paint, so it's a great one to keep on hand. And then also the same chunky paintbrushes that we use with the watercolor, we also use with this tempera paint. We love painting on these wood cutouts. You can paint paper plates, you can paint paper bags, you can paint popsicle stick, you can pretty much paint anything with this stuff. So I love to keep a variety of colors around. And then I also love just teaching the kids how to mix with this paint and just being creative and just thinking of multiple ways for the children to use the tempera paint. Washes off really easily. It's non-toxic, very vivid, has a nice smooth texture to it. So if you're able to allow your children to paint on things besides paper, like three-dimensional objects, also a great learning experience, and they're just very fascinated with that. It gets them super engaged. I noticed when they're painting on the three-dimensional things, they spend a lot more time with. Once again, this is super easy cleanup. You just can soak these brushes, the paint comes right off. And then next, we love the dot paints. These are fun to bring out, just adds a different element, very vivid colors. The children come up with some really great ways to use this and can get very creative. I often will do printouts, maybe templates on like cardstock. The lids are pretty small though, so if you have toddlers and infants in your care, you need to make sure that you take off all the lids and put them up high while the kids are using them. And then that way you don't have little lids rolling around and you don't really have to worry about that. And they're also non-toxic and they wash away pretty easily. I don't think they're very messy. These are more of like a mess-free type paint and getting like a really vivid color with the least amount of mess. Maybe stain the hands. You might want to be careful with fabric, but the parents with the children in my care, they know not to send their kids in their best clothes because clothes might get ruined. For the most part, most of my parents have said that they've been able to wash out the paint that's gotten in their clothes. But as you can see, this is also great for hand strength, wrist strength. They're using that full upper arm, and these can also be used on an easel. Also, there's printable dot pages that you can use for math, games, and things like that. It's just a great thing to have on hand, and we've really enjoyed the dot paints in our family child care. So next, a good paint I love to have on hand is the finger paint. So this is just Crayola finger paint, and it's really great for when you're introducing very young children maybe to painting for the first time, because as we all know, infants, everything is going to get tasted or eaten or just put straight into the mouth, and this is your safest paint for that. I will put little wood cutouts in the bags like this, or even just paint for her to squish if I don't really want a whole lot of cleanup, and they love squish bags of paint, and that way we're ensured that she's not eating it and not getting super messy. But then again, at the same time, it's really great for them to have opportunities to fill that paint and to have finger painting as well. So around a year old, you can start start doing this and just kind of show them, if you have a mixed age group and you have older children in your care, infants have been watching, they're observing, they've seen this happen, so they kind of know how it works. This little baby here, she's about a year old. She's already kind of like an expert at writing this, but she loves it. And the minute I take it away, she gets so upset. So we kind of have to keep something for her to do, allowing opportunities for them to learn. But as you can see, she's got it on her mouth. She did taste this a little bit, but it's that safe finger paint and completely safe and non-toxic. Next are the markers, and I really like the skinnies from Crayon and the little Pip Squeak markers. They're very easy for them to manage in their hands. If ever I put out a variety of writing and coloring things, they immediately go for the markers. They just love the vivid colors on these. But once again, if you have, toddlers and infants in your care, just make sure you keep a very close eye on those lids, or just a little basket out of just a few colors with the lids already taken off. I have this marker holder here, which has been nice. It took a long time for them to learn. Once they color, they have to put the lid back on and put it back. And then sometimes they start playing with them and they start stacking the lids together and the markers together, which is fine. It's just normal kid play. But if it gets to be a safety issue or to the point where they're just making a huge mess with them, I will just put them up high. And so over time of doing that and taking them away when they weren't using them properly, or putting them away after they were done, they have learned to be pretty careful with these markers. And for the most part, they can get the lids back on and they will put them back in the container I give them. I do usually have to, straighten things out and double check. I think markers, especially with this many kids around, can be a little bit stressful. And if you leave these out just loose in the room, everything's going to be drawn on the minute you're not looking, and you'll find your nice wooden toys might have some new graffiti on that. It's going to be a natural thing for kids to want to experiment with the markers and write on different things, write on themselves, write on their friends. It is one of those things you just want to make sure you have a shelf where when they're not being used and you're not right there observing, that they are put up high. I have no problem with coloring sheets or printouts. Makes the paper a little more interesting if it's a plain white paper, if there's somewhere for them to draw on or let a line to color in. Keep them related to what we're studying or what we're working on or what's going on seasonally or with holidays. And then also I do have crayons, and so we keep those and offer it. I might bring down the colored pencils and the markers, and so that they have a variety of different writing things to work with, are able to be exposed to all of these things. The next art supply that I love to keep on hand are stamps. There's a lot that you can do with stamps, and they are also great for building the fine motor skills and pincher grasp. You can get these inexpensive, almost dollar store type. Think that they're kind of nice because they are like the perfect size for their little hand to stamp with. But you do have to be careful with these because they've got the little lid, and sometimes that little insert can come out, so that could pose a pretty big choking hazard. So just make sure you're keeping these up high when they're not in use, and then when they're being used, just under very close observation if you have children under 3. So the other kind of stamp are these big chunky stamps with the big knob handle. Those are nice as well. You can use these in Play-Doh stamping and even in paint for children that might have less fine motor skills, like very young children. These are good ones for that, and because they're able to grip the whole thing with their whole hand. I will do these stamps like a group activity. It's also possible, once the children are really familiar with it, to make a little stamp tray and do that in their free choice time. And some people even put a small amount of stamps in their writing station once the children are familiar with them and you know that they're able to do that on their own. Next, I love keeping a variety of stickers around. There's a lot of creative ways that you can use the stickers. Of course, they are just a favorite and children love them. Stickers are amazing for building coordination and fine motor skills. You can even just keep these very inexpensive dot stickers, and 2-year-olds love putting these on the page, and they're very easy for them to peel off and stick on. There are a lot of printouts that you can get that are specific for the dot stickers. Just really the sky's the limit. There's just a million different kind of dot sticker pages out there. The way I see these dot stickers is, yes, they can get creative with them, but they're really just a great fine motor skill activity. It's really fun to see that skill progression happen. And there's extra things that are good to keep in your art supply, like googly eyes. You never know when you're going to need to put a googly eye on something. These ones are cool. They have just like a sticker backing to them. So next, gluing is amazing. Squeezing this big bottle of glue is so much fun for them, and it builds their hand strength. They really enjoy it, and yeah, sometimes they go a little crazy with it at first, but over time they learn how to manage that. So just allow them the opportunity to use the big glue and to squeeze that and to grow that hand strength and to get sticky and learn how that feels to get sticky. We do a lot of collaging. Collaging is an important art to kind of have incorporated into your activity plans. You can use tissue paper or just regular paper, or really you can collage with just about anything, feathers, pom-poms, buttons. It's a really great process art for them to learn to put the different colors and create their own designs, and you can use about anything. I get these pre-made tissue cuts and I can just bust those out. They can learn to stick those on. Using the glue sticks as well, that's another great pre-writing and fine motor skills, using that little glue stick and spreading it on. And you will notice that children, when you first introduce this activity, they just want to see the glue on there. They just want to put glue all over everything. They want to just squeeze a big pile of glue out. And that's part of the learning process. You need to allow that a little bit, but over time they'll stop doing it and they'll make some amazing creations. Another thing that we really love, and I feel like it's important to have, are the beading things. They can make something out of it, make a little bracelet, make a gift for someone. The trick is not to put too many beads out, just a small amount. All of these falling on the floor is it's not very fun to pick up. Maybe an individualized tray to sort of keep all those contained. These wooden chunky beads I found at Walmart. They had a variety pack and I haven't seen them in a while. See if I can find a link for some that are similar. But they're really user-friendly. You can kind of tie one down at the end. Because this is simple for them, they're able to be successful. It's very rewarding and it's great for counting. It's great for color recognition and also just great at building that fine motor skill, getting better at working with small objects. The more you can expose preschoolers to stuff like this, the better they are going to be at writing when they get into school, and the more coordinated their hand is going to be and the less frustrating it's going to be when it comes to learning how to write. And so really in the preschool age, you don't even need to focus so much on learning how to write letters and things. Your main focus just needs to be on building this hand coordination in a fun way that is engaging, and they just are naturally drawn to doing activities like this. So we just need to set that up and allow them choices and opportunities to do this stuff. So last but not least is the Play-Doh. It's another medium that they're learning how to use and how to work with that. You can make it in different colors. You can add fragrances to it. You can provide a variety of things for them to stick into it and make stamps out of it. They really just have a lot of fun with this. I keep Play-Doh all of the time. Yeah, when it is everybody doing it and it turns into a big group activity, it can be messy, but just have small amounts in small containers. They don't need a whole ton. And then just have just the right kinds of tools that they need to work on this stuff. And then teach your children how to clean up, and just making sure to recognize this and give all the praise that she needs so that they keep helping with the cleanup. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps people to understand, especially new providers, that art doesn't have to be expensive, messy, or complicated. There's ways to implement this every day in your home or childcare or preschool setting. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe because there's more to come.
Don't pretend you don't see me.